The first time Owen Vale called us, we were standing on the exact coordinates transmitted by his emergency beacon. Mara and I had crossed Sector C7 twice, shoulder to shoulder, while Ellis tagged every possible exit with orange tape. Rook, Mara's search dog, had worked the perimeter without finding a scent trail leading in or out. There was no hiker, no campsite, and no trail leading away, just wet fir trees and a patch of exposed stone no larger than a kitchen. I reported the sector negative. A second later, my GPS chimed. The grid turned green. C7, clear. Then Owen's voice came through our monitored hailing frequency. Weak, breathless, close.
You're facing the wrong way.
He said my name. Behind us, somewhere beyond the trees, a rescue whistle sounded 3 times. I turned toward the trail we had used to enter. It was gone. The slope continued into dense timber, and every strip of orange tape Ellis had tied along the route had disappeared. On my screen, Owen's beacon was still pulsing. It had moved 20 meters behind us, deeper inside the sector we had just cleared. I told myself the map had rotated. That happens more often than people think. A GPS compass can lag when you stop moving. A beacon can bounce off rock. Handheld radios can do strange things in steep terrain. What they do not usually do is address you by name. Dispatch, C7, I said. Hold the clearance. We have voice contact with the subject. There was a pause. Then Leah answered from the command post.
C7, dispatch. Repeat last.
Voice contact with Owen Vale reopened the sector. Another pause. Ellis was already checking the trees around us. He was 26, strong, careful, and still new enough to believe every error had a correct procedure waiting somewhere. He found the stump where he had tied our last trail marker. The branch still carried a pale strip where the bark had been protected from rain. The tape itself was gone. Mara crouched beside the exposed stone and checked the beacon receiver.
Owen,
She called.
this is a mountain rescue. Can you tell us what you see?
Static pushed through the speaker. Then Owen whispered.
Your younger one is standing beside a split fir.
Ellis froze. He was standing beside a fir divided into 2 trunks at shoulder height. I swept my headlamp through the forest. Nothing moved.
Can you see our lights?
Mara asked.
Yes,
Walk toward them.
I tried.
Are you injured?
I don't know anymore.
Leah came back on the radio.
C7, dispatch. I'm receiving no traffic on the hailing channel.
I looked at Mara. You're hearing him. She nodded. So did Ellis. We all hear him, I told Leah. Male voice. Identifies as Owen Vale.
Negative. Nothing's reaching command.
The red beacon marker pulsed again. 20 meters became 32. It was moving away without changing direction. Mara checked her compass. The needle indicated downhill, behind us. The ground in that direction climbed steeply between the trees. Ellis walked 5 meters toward where our entry trail should have been. He stopped and aimed his light at the ground.
No footprints.
The forest floor was soft with rain. The 3 of us had climbed through mud for almost 40 minutes. We should have left a track a child could follow. There was nothing behind us except needles, stone, and exposed roots. On the GPS, our breadcrumb trail still showed a clean line entering from southwest. I aligned the screen with the compass. The route ran directly through the trunk of a tree. Leah finally said,
C7 has been reopened for a 10-minute verification window. Each cleared subsection will revert individually unless new evidence is logged.
The grid changed from green to amber. Our route reappeared on the map. The physical tree remained where it was.
That's not a mapping error.
Ellis said. No, I told him, but it could be a bad grid. I said it because he needed something ordinary to hold on to. I needed it too. We located the western edge of C7 by coordinates. Search sectors are drawn on a map before deployment. In the field, there is usually nothing marking where one ends and another begins. This time, we found the line without looking at the screen. The wind moved through the trees on our side. Across the boundary, the branches were still, not sheltered, still. Rainwater hung from the needles without falling. The insects stopped at the same place. Mara held out one hand. She moved it back and forth through the boundary.
Temperature's the same,
she said. Ellis threw a stone across. It struck the ground 6 meters away. The impact made no sound. 3 seconds later, the noise came through our radios. A single knock, much further away. We tried again with a tracked carabiner attached to 30 meters of rope. I anchored the line around a tree. Ellis threw the carabiner across the boundary. We watched it land. Its tracker vanished from Mara's map. Ellis pulled it back. The rope dragged normally until the carabiner reached the line. Then it caught. Not on a branch, not beneath a rock. It stopped on open ground. All 3 of us pulled. The rope stretched tight. On the other side, the carabiner lay loose on wet leaves.
Give it slack,
Mara said. I did. The carabiner moved away from us. Only a few centimeters. But it moved. The line was feeding itself across the boundary. Ellis wrapped it around his forearm. Cut it, I said. He drew the knife and severed the rope on our side. The tension disappeared. The remaining length dropped flat. The carabiner was suddenly gone. Its tracker reappeared almost 400 meters northeast, beside Owen's beacon. When Ellis gathered the cut rope, there was another knot near the end, a double fisherman's knot. The kind I used when joining a rescue cord. I had not tied it. Owen, I said, did you take our carabiner? His reply came from a radio inside Ellis's pack, not the unit clipped to his shoulder. The spare. Ellis pulled it out and stared at it. The battery compartment was open. The battery was in his hand. Owen's breathing continued through the speaker.
Don't let them mark it clear,
he said. Then the spare radio went silent. Leah called for our scheduled check-in. I gave our position, personnel, and condition. 3 rescuers mobile, I said. Possible subject contact. C7 remains active.
Copy. 3 rescuers mobile.
We followed the beacon. Every route back led through trees that had not been there before. Owen's signal at least gave us a consistent bearing. Ellis began marking our path again. He numbered each strip of tape and photographed it before moving on. After 7 minutes, we found marker 6 tied around a tree ahead of us. Same number, same torn corner, same black line from his pen.
That's mine.
He said. The knot was mine. Ellis had been using a simple overhand knot. The tape ahead of us had been tied with the locking hitch I had taught him the previous winter. 20 meters later, marker 4 was wrapped around the remains of an old wooden sign. The sign had rotted until only a few letters remained. Search 198. Mara ran a gloved finger over it.
There's never been a marked route here.
She was right. The map showed untouched forest. A whistle sounded somewhere to our right. 3 blasts. The standard distress signal. Ellis raised his own whistle.
Don't answer.
Owen said through the batteryless radio. Ellis lowered it. Why? I asked.
Because it isn't calling you.
Ahead, the beacon stopped moving. We entered a shallow hollow we had already searched. Owen's backpack sat in the center. It was red, clean and dry despite the rain. Mara approached first. She checked beneath it, then opened the main compartment. Inside were a water bladder, emergency food, a folded jacket, and a silver thermal blanket. The blanket was warm. Not body temperature, warmer, as if it had just come out of a dryer.
Don't open the front pocket.
Owen said. Ellis looked at me. I nodded. He unzipped it. Inside was one of his plastic evidence markers. The label had today's date. Below it, in block letters, someone had written, Subject location, unconfirmed. Ellis dropped it. The beacon moved again. For 1 second, a second red dot appeared directly over Ellis. Then it vanished. We are leaving, I said. No one argued. We turned toward the amber corridor shown on the GPS. For several minutes, the terrain almost matched. The ground descended. We found our own footprints in mud. Then a headlamp appeared between the trees ahead. It moved once, slowly, as though someone were signaling. Ellis lifted his arm.
Rescue team.
He called. The headlamp moved again. Leah's voice came over the radio.
C7, the western subsection has reverted to clear. Your reported position remains east of the closure line.
Negative, I said. All 3 personnel are inside C7. Ellis had already moved toward the headlamp. Only 10 meters, maybe 12. The map chimed. The western subsection turned green. The forest noise stopped between us. Ellis turned around. He could see us. I knew that because his face changed when he saw me waving him back. Mara, hold here. I stepped toward him. At the boundary, pressure built in my ears. Not pain, the feeling of descending too quickly in an aircraft. I shouted Ellis's name. He gave no sign he heard me. His mouth moved. My radio crackled.
Can you hear me?
His voice came through the hailing frequency. Not our team channel. I looked at the map. Ellis's blue responder icon was gone. 2 blue icons remained. Mine and Mara's. A red beacon pulsed where Ellis stood. Subject 2. Active. Dispatch. You've closed the sector with a rescuer inside.
Negative.
Leah said. I'm looking at him.
Your deployment roster shows 2 field personnel.
Check the incident log.
I am checking it.
Fog had settled along the boundary. It lay in a perfectly straight strip no wider than my hand. Rook began whining. Mara gave the forward command. Rook backed away. She presented Owen's glove again.
Find.
Rook circled once. Then he turned toward Ellis and sat rigidly facing him. The trained indication for a located subject. Ellis watched the dog. His voice came through my radio.
He can see me.
We can see you too,
No,
Ellis said.
not like that.
We anchored another rope. Mara threw the carabiner across. Ellis caught it and clipped it to his harness. I watched him lock it. He gave us a thumbs up. We pulled. For 1 second, his body moved toward us. Then the line went weightless. The rope came back through the fog. The carabiner was still locked. Ellis was no longer attached. He remained standing in the same place. His harness lay at Mara's feet. Ellis looked down at his own body. Through the trees, I could still see the straps around his chest. We had both versions of it. The one on him, and the one we had pulled out.
Don't try again.
Owen said. His voice and Ellis's were now arriving through the same channel. Behind Ellis, shapes appeared between the trees. Reflective strips from old jackets. The flash of a metal pack frame. A yellow tent half collapsed beneath roots. A line of faded orange tape extended deeper than our lights reached. Ellis turned slowly.
There are others here.
What do you see?
Mara asked.
Old gear, search packs, coats.
He paused.
There's a woman sitting beside a stretcher. She says they stopped looking in 1998.
Owen interrupted.
They're not all in the same place.
Where are you? I asked.
Close to whatever hasn't been finished yet.
I forced my voice to remain level. Owen, tell me how to bring Ellis back.
I don't know if you can.
Then tell me what happened to you. For several seconds, there was only static.
They reopened my sector twice.
He said.
The route came back on their screens, never on the ground.
Leah announced that C7 would revert to clear in 6 minutes unless the verification window received valid evidence. I reported Owen's backpack. The software rejected the upload because its location originated inside a previously cleared subsection. I reported his active beacon. The system flagged it as unreliable for the same reason. I reported Ellis. Leah asked me to stop using an unverified name on the command channel. The green shading expanded across Mara's screen. A trail vanished as we watched. One moment, there was an opening between 2 rocks. The next, the rocks were touching. A creek behind us stopped flowing downhill and began running quietly back beneath the roots. Our searchlights, visible on the lower ridge, switched off one after another. Not the lamps themselves. The beams simply stopped reaching us. I changed our coordinates. I told Leah we were 50 meters east of our actual position and had found fresh blood. It was a lie, but the eastern subsection remained amber. At the same moment, a narrow trail opened between the trees. Mara stared at it.
You did that.
I did not answer. We moved through the false corridor while continuing to call Ellis. He followed along his side of the boundary. Sometimes we could see him. Sometimes his voice came from areas already behind us. Owen guided us toward 3 fir trees growing in a straight line. They were nearly identical, same height, same split in the bark, same broken branch pointing west. Between the second and third tree was a gap no wider than a doorway. Through it, I saw a mountain switchback under grey daylight. We were standing in full darkness. The path beyond the gap was dry. Owen stood in it. He was thinner than the photograph from his missing person file. His jacket was torn and one side of his face was bruised. He held Ellis's batteryless radio. Further along the switchback, Ellis stood among rows of old search markers. I moved sideways. The gap showed only trees. Mara raised her tablet. Through its camera, the switchback remained visible from every angle. "Owen," I said, "come toward us."
I have been.
He took one step. On our side, the 3 fir trees shifted closer together. The gap narrowed.
Stop!
Mara said. Owen stopped. The trees stopped moving. "How long have you been here?" I asked. He looked past me towards something I could not see.
I don't know which search you mean.
The grid chimed again. 4 minutes. The green boundary was closing around us. Owen held up the radio.
Ellis can cross where I'm standing, I think, but not while the system is looking for him.
I contacted Leah. I told her Ellis had been located and was physically in contact with the team. She said no Ellis was attached to the incident. I told her to add him as field personnel. She asked for a surname, date of birth, and clothing description. The software was opening a missing person record. Ellis's red marker acquired a label. Ellis Rowe. Owen's marker disappeared. The original incident title changed on Mara's tablet. Missing hiker, Ellis Rowe. No trace of Owen Vale remained.
Don't let them finish it,
Owen said. Mara anchored our rope around the middle fir. I fed the line through the gap. On the GPS screen, Owen caught it. Physically, the rope passed between 2 trees and vanished after half a meter. Ellis clipped in. Mara and I pulled. Weight came onto the line. Heavy. Human. Ellis moved along the switchback. The gap narrowed around him. For 1 second, his arm came through between the trees. I grabbed his wrist. It was cold, wet, and solid. Normal. Then Leah began the final clearance transmission.
Command to all units, Sector 7 search complete.
"Negative," I shouted. "Personnel still inside." Ellis tightened his grip. The skin of his wrist shifted beneath my hand. Not tearing. Sliding. As though my fingers were holding a glove with nothing in it.
No subject located.
Mara seized Ellis's forearm with both hands. Rook barked once,
No rescue personnel unaccounted for.
The fir trees touched. Ellis's hand collapsed inside mine. His weight vanished from the rope. The empty harness slid through the gap and struck the ground at our feet. The switchback was gone. The GPS screen turned green. Search complete. No person found. A red marker pulsed once in the center of C7. Subject beacon active. Then the screen returned to the main menu. The original trail opened behind us. It led directly downhill. No repeating trees. No fog. No silent boundary. The searchlights on the ridge were visible again. Mara and I walked out carrying Ellis's harness. At the command post, Leah asked why we had brought an extra equipment set. I showed her Ellis's name written inside the shoulder strap. She checked the deployment record. The missing person was listed as Ellis Rowe, 26 years old, last seen hiking alone. The photograph attached to the file was his staff identification picture. Owen Vale was gone. No emergency call, no beacon registration, no missing person report. Mara remembered Ellis. So did Leah. Once I showed her photographs from training, but every route connected to him had changed. The address in his personnel file led to a closed forestry road. His emergency contact number connected to a campground office that had never heard of him. His vehicle was still in the staff lot. The navigation history showed 2 years of journeys beginning inside C7 and ending at the rescue depot, though no road connected the two. We returned to C7 twice. Both times, every map routed us around the sector. When we tried to approach on foot, trails curved away without turning. We could see the ridge through the trees, but each climb brought us back to our vehicle. Rook still reacts to Ellis's name. He looks toward the mountain and waits. I kept the batteryless radio. For a while, it transmitted only static. Then Ellis began checking in. Never for long. He would say his name, give a location, and ask whether the sector was still active. The coordinates changed every time. Some were in the mountains, some were beneath the reservoirs or inside areas searched decades ago. Once, he called from a shopping center demolished before he was born. I stopped answering. That was a mistake. 3 weeks ago, the regional search application activated on my phone while I was at home. No incident had been assigned. A green grid covered my neighborhood. My house sat in the center. The surrounding streets were marked, searched. No person found. At first, nothing else changed. Then delivery drivers began stopping at the end of the road. They said their navigation routes ended 200 meters from my address. 2 days later, the postal service marked the property inaccessible. Mara tried to visit last Sunday. Her navigation sent her past the turn, back to the highway, then through the same roundabout 4 times. She could see my roof between the trees. Every road leading toward it returned her to the main road. That night, the street disappeared from every map on my phone. The physical road is still there. I can walk on it, but when I follow it away from the house, I reach the same letterbox from the opposite direction. Yesterday, the insects stopped at the property line. This evening, the batteryless radio came on by itself. Ellis sounded further away than before.
Maintain contact,
he said. The search application chimed. My property changed from amber to green around the edges. I asked Ellis what would happen when it reached the house. He did not answer. Through the front window, I could see lights moving slowly between the trees across the road. White search beams. 4 of them. They passed over the fence, the driveway, and the windows without stopping. I turned on every light in the house. I opened the front door and shouted. No sound crossed the property line. The radio chimed again. A recorded voice announced that the final verification window would close after the next missed check-in. I have been speaking into it ever since. The lights have passed the driveway 4 times now. None of them can find the turn.